Faith and fellowship. Julie's faith became a cornerstone of her prison life and a bridge to building deeper connections. She began attending the prison's Bible study group, where her knowledge of Scripture and ability to apply it to real-life situations made her an unofficial leader. The group quickly grew in popularity as more inmates were drawn to Julie's ability to bring hope and positivity to their lives. Through prayer sessions, group discussions, and even gospel singing on Sunday mornings, Julie and her newfound friends created a small sanctuary within the prison walls. Among the group was Angela, a hardened inmate who initially kept her distance from Julie. But one day, after a particularly moving Bible study session led by Julie, Angela opened up about the guilt she felt for her crimes and the strain it had put on her family. Julie offered her unconditional support, and the two women developed a deep friendship that would become one of the most meaningful in Julie's prison journey, turning challenges into opportunities. One of the ways Julie stayed sane was by finding ways to give back to her community, even behind bars. She started a cooking club, teaching inmates how to turn the limited resources of prison commissary ingredients into tasty and creative meals. Cooking became a therapeutic outlet for many women, reminding them of home and providing a sense of normalcy. Julie's recipes became so popular that even the guards occasionally joked about sneaking a taste. Julie also used her organizational skills to improve the prison's library system. She worked with staff to reorganize books and create a recommendation board where inmates could suggest and share their favorite reads. The power of laughter. Despite the grim environment, Julie found ways to keep the mood light. She was a natural storyteller and often entertained her friends with humorous anecdotes about her life before prison. From tales of Todd's extravagant ideas gone wrong to the antics of her children, Julie's stories brought much-needed laughter to her peers. Her sense of humor proved infectious, and the small group of women she bonded with soon became known as the laughing ladies among the prison population. They shared jokes, pulled harmless pranks, and even created a makeshift talent show to lift spirits. A changed perspective. Julie's time in prison became a period of reflection and growth. She learned the value of humility, the importance of genuine human connection, and the strength that comes from supporting others. Her friendships with Maria, Tamika, Angela, and countless other women showed her that even in the darkest of times, there was light to be found. These women, each with their unique stories and struggles, had become a surrogate family to her. Looking ahead. As Julie approaches the halfway mark of her sentence, she's already thinking about how she can use her experience to help others upon her release. She dreams of creating programs to support women transitioning from prison back into society, providing mentorship, job training, and faith-based counseling. Julie Chrisley's journey from the high life of reality TV to the stark reality of prison has been anything but easy. But through resilience, faith, and her innate ability to connect with others, she has turned a potentially devastating chapter into one of growth, friendship, and purpose. Her new friends behind bars may not have the glitz and glamour of her old social circle, but they have taught her the true meaning of loyalty, kindness, and redemption. And for that, Julie will be forever grateful. The world outside Hope Langston's airplane window was an endless canvas of clouds, their ethereal shapes tinged pink and orange by the fading sunlight. The plane's hum was a constant reminder of the distance still left to travel, and Hope couldn't help but check her watch for the 5th time in as many minutes. She had less than 12 hours to make it back to Langston Hollow, a small town nestled in the Smoky Mountains, where her father's funeral would begin at dawn. Her chest tightened as she clutched the old photograph tucked into her lap. The image was of her father, Jimmy Langston, wearing his signature overalls and a sun hat, holding up a freshly caught trout with a grin that reached his eyes. The photo was taken on one of their fishing trips, back when her world revolved around creekside laughter and the smell of pine. How had she let so much time slip away? Years of career pursuits, city living, and the faint hope of making her father proud had kept her from those mountains. Now she was racing against time to say goodbye. The flight attendant's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing turbulence ahead. Hope gripped the armrest, her heart thudding in sync with the plane's subtle jolts. It felt like the universe was testing her resolve. But she wouldn't let a few bumps, or the overwhelming guilt, stop her. Not this time. The cab ride from the airport was a blur of headlights, empty highways, and the occasional burst of small-town neon signs. The driver, a grizzled man with a southern drawl, tried to make small talk. "Back home for the holidays?" he asked, glancing at her through the rearview mirror. "No," she replied softly, her voice catching. "My father's funeral." The driver's eyes softened. "I'm sorry to hear that. Folks say funerals are for the living, not the dead. Gives us a chance to make peace." Peace. The word echoed in her mind. Her last conversation with her father had been anything but peaceful. It was 2 years ago, a heated argument over her decision to turn down a job offer in Langston Hollow to stay in New York. She could still hear his voice, thick with disappointment. "You'll regret it, Hope. Family don't wait forever." And now he was gone. The driver pulled up to the bed and breakfast where Hope planned to spend the night. The sight of the familiar wooden sign, Maplewood Inn, a place to rest your weary soul, brought a lump to her throat. She remembered staying here as a child during one of the rare power outages that left their house too cold to inhabit. The memory felt like a whisper of the life she'd left behind. Hope barely slept. Morning crept in through the lace curtains, and the scent of fresh brewed coffee wafted through the air. She skipped breakfast, her stomach too knotted to consider food, and drove the short distance to the church. The sight of the white-steepled building, standing resolute against the fiery backdrop of autumn leaves, nearly broke her. This was where her father had brought her every Sunday, where he had sung hymns with a voice that could rival the angels. She parked in the gravel lot, staring at the gathering crowd. Familiar faces, people she hadn't seen in years, mingled in the crisp morning air. The sound of quiet sobs and hushed conversations filled the space. Hope hesitated. What if they judged her? What if they blamed her for not being there when her father needed her most? As if sensing her turmoil, a hand tapped her window. It was Maisie, her childhood best friend, now a mother of 3 with a warmth that hadn't changed. Hope rolled down the window, and Maisie gave her a small, understanding smile. "He'd want you here, you know," Maisie said gently. "No matter what." The funeral service was a mixture of heartache and nostalgia. The pastor spoke of Jimmy Langston's kindness, his unshakable faith, and his love for his family and community. People shared stories of how he'd fixed their fences, lent them tools, and taught their kids to fish. Every anecdote was a testament to the man Hope had always admired, but never fully understood. When it was her turn to speak, her legs felt like lead as she approached the podium. She glanced at the closed casket draped in flowers and swallowed hard. The congregation waited, their eyes filled with expectation. I don't know where to begin," she started, her voice trembling. "My dad was the kind of man who didn't just tell you how to live. He showed you. Through his actions, his integrity, and his unyielding love for this town. I spent so much of my life chasing dreams far away from here, thinking it would make him proud. But the truth is, I think I missed the point." She paused, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I wasn't here when he needed me most, and I'll carry that regret for the rest of my life. But standing here today, I realize it's not too late to honor him, to live the way he taught me. With purpose, with heart, and with a love that knows no bounds. The room was silent for a moment before a wave of quiet nods and soft murmurs of agreement swept through the crowd. Hope returned to her seat, Maisie squeezing her hand in silent support. After the service, the family and friends gathered at the Langston family home. The scent of fried chicken and sweet potato pie filled the air as people shared more stories and laughter mingled with tears. Hope wandered outside, needing a moment alone. The backyard stretched out to the woods, where the creek still babbled as it had in her childhood. She walked toward it, the crunch of leaves underfoot grounding her in the present. Standing by the water, she let the memories wash over her. Her father's laughter, his calloused hands teaching her how to tie a fishing hook, his steady voice telling her everything would be okay. "Hey, Daddy," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I'm here. I made it." The wind rustled the trees as if carrying his spirit, and for the first time in years, she felt a sense of peace. She would carry his lessons forward, not just in memory, but in action. The city could wait. Langston Hollow, her father's legacy, was where she was meant to be.